Starting to the bottom left in a green, our Zerg player, able to win the map number 2. He is
EGJD Lady Core.
Green like Monster, green like Razor. Jadon.
We actually get a lot of questions because of the Lady Call. This, of course, Raycore, one of the sponsors of EG, and with the green Street Fighter pronunciation. It sounds a little bit like a Lady Call, especially when the fangirls are suddenly starting that chant. No Lady Call for the guy to the top right, though. He is a Protoss player, losing on game number 2, winning the first map, though. He is
MVP Lure.
I can imagine there's somebody who like didn't know what we meant. He's like trying to tally how many lady calls people have to like. What does that mean? You can just like call a girl and she'll be his girlfriend for the day, or like what do they mean by that? Oh, yeah, it's just the pronunciation. So it looks like we're gonna have Nexus first this time. Hatch first, of course, for Jadon on the map like this. So Lure decides to go with a more normal build this game, not going old school. Ooh, doesn't grab the minerals for the Nexus. He wants the Nexus as soon as possible.
And he gets it. So, with the opening that Lure has, no pressure for Jadon. Normally you start with a 14 pool or a 15 pool because you want to have the option of getting a Zerglings out fast if your Protoss opponent is trying to block your expansion spot with the pylon or just trying to cannon you, which can be the case if you start, or if you're facing Protoss player that starts with a 41st build, which is not the case here. The Nexus first for Lure, therefore Jadon with no pressure, and gets away with this 15 hatch without a problem at all.
Yep. There's the gateway as well.
And he sends out another drone into the middle of the map immediately. Takes the third base.
The old base, in fact, on Planet S.
Yep. This is one of the things that you had on the early stages of Antigua Shipyard, when there were gold bases and a lot of Zerg players, a lot of Protoss players especially, would complain that this lends itself to a lot of imbalance because it was much easier for the Zerg player to get the bases. It kind of went... You kind of put the base into the attack line to the Protoss, pushing him back, taking the base, and then getting the extra income, which further pressured the Protoss player. So this is exactly the same thought process that Jadon has here.
Yeah. And gold bases were removed from all GSL maps until this season. They balanced the mule, so the mule didn't mine extra minerals from a gold base. So you had that, and then of course now we have Icarus with 2 gold patches, and this map has 2 gold bases in the center. The center base is very vulnerable here, though.
Yeah, it's definitely vulnerable, and I would like him to see transferring drones over, so that he can get the most of it, even if it's attack. And that's exactly what he does right now with the perfect timing. We have the eco slide now towards the center of the map. All those drones are gonna mine and get the extra income. And Lure, he doesn't know about this. So a good saturation here can really pose a lot of problems for the Protoss players later on. He needs to find out what's happening.
By the way, Lure as well, just to point out something else he's been doing in this game, he's playing 2 harvesters in all 3 of his assimilators. In fact, all 4 of his assimilators now have 2 harvesters. That is weird.
That's actually really interesting.
But, I mean, of course, this gives him a really balanced economy where he has decent mineral mining, but also the best saturation possible while still having 4 extra probes mining.
And now we have him with a tech into Stargate. And Stargate tech against a player that is this spread out, with Jadon taking the risk of getting the base in the middle of the map, is really good, because what you usually rely on as a Zerg when you are facing a Stargate tech is you want to have some extra queens. You rely on the creep spread between the bases so that you are more mobile with the queens, and the added spoil crawlers. And for Jadon, this is going to be a lot more difficult because he can't just spread creep between the third and the natural. So extra queens are not going to help him too much. And if you then move in with your air units and send a few gateway units, a few zealots with the entire attack, then the center base suddenly is under a lot of pressure.
He's getting the robotics at the same time, which is really interesting. I wonder how he's going to use this exactly, because Hero has shown a lot of cool play with Immortals following up the weaknesses. You could see something just like this from Lure. You're not even spending Hero's build. You know, you guys can remember way back when Hero and Lure actually used to be teammates as well. Nice wall here. But We'll see what he's got in mind. Looks like he wants to go for a Warp Prism first.
Oh, this actually looks like he wants to go for the strategy that we've seen JYP executing. Someone else did that just recently. I actually forgot who that was. I think you have that IEM. You open with a Stargate and you try to kill all those Overlords. You wait for until you have a few Phoenixes out. You clear the Overlords, and this makes sure that the the Zerg player has no scouting information. Go in with the Warp Prism, have the sentries with you, and force fields the ramp. That is really strong, and can kill an opponent immediately. With all the added gateways, it looks like this is exactly what we're going to see here.
I think so, man. He's going to try to do big warpins in the main, and there's no vision whatsoever, by the way, right now for the path going into the main base. This is something that Jaedong is not going to know about. This is such a spread out map. This is what you talked about already. At this moment in time, Jaedong is searching around the map, trying to find that path, that perfect opening where he can get his Warp Prism around. He even cleans up these Zerglings right now.
Look how cautious he is with the Warp Prism.
He doesn't even have to be cautious, but he's being it.
Yeah, he waits with the Warp Prism on the high ground where he can't be seen, up to the point where he chases them away. He clears the path with all those Phoenixes, and if he just moves in now, he can do so much. He's gonna warp in a couple of units most likely, and then head into... No, actually, he doesn't do it.
Well, you know, he sees the third base now. He's like, wait a minute, this is not what I thought, but I'll just go ahead and take this base down instead. Warp gates are ready in the main base.
I'm really surprised. I mean, he's going for the main base right now, but I'm really surprised that he didn't warp in sentries.
Yeah, he warps in Zealots instead, and he leaves the gold base alone. Hydrosan is finishing up here. He needs sentries. He warps in actually just more Zealots. He's going to just trap any units to try to come up into the main base with his Phoenixes.
This is still strong and also unexpected, and he can go straight for there if he wants to. But with a couple of sentries, he could have just blocked the ramp here. Yeah, he also has the gas to do it, but he's moving in right now, and he's taking up behind this. We have Hydralisks now as well for Jaedong. He's not just standard combination, but still.
Picking up any unit that fights the Phoenixes, or rather fights the Zealots, he's picking it up. And, I mean, Jaedong will hold this, but he's losing a lot at this point. He needs to pick up those Hydras if he can. They're going to do a ton of damage to the Zealots, especially at that choke point right there. Yeah,
the Hydras are definitely becoming a problem here.
And Lure's losing a lot of supply.
The Phoenixes are trying to move in, and Lure is definitely losing a lot. Jaedong is... If he can micro those Hydra as well, but it's tough, especially against those Phoenixes and the extra damage against the air units.
This is tense, man. This is actually a back-and-forth situation where he's starting to lose Overlords now as well. And that's when things get even more critical. You start to lose the Overlords and you're losing units.
If he
spirals out of control.
Yeah, that really spirals
oh, look at this. He's killing so many Harvesters, and now he's in a good position with the Zealots against the Lings.
The Queen, he can't get the Queen again, and this limits the production of Jaedong even further. He's losing all the units that pop out right away. This is not good for Jaedong at all. At first, Lure losing a lot more supply. The Hydra's doing a lot of damage, but then they are gone. Jaedong can't resupply, and now the Protoss player is the one who is really pressuring Jaedong beyond belief.
Yeah, Jaedong just losing too much mining. It's not about the larva, it's about the resource. He just doesn't have enough resource to make anything. Now he's basically only mining from a gold base. Yeah, it's gold, but gold can only get you so far.
And the Warp Prism is still in the main base.
Yeah,
he was never able to pressure it, so he can't warp in unit after unit.
All of them. He's down to 27. He's only got workers now at the gold base.
This is not only the end of the drones, Wolf.
I think it's the end of the game. I think Jaedong is going to Code B.
This is the end of Jaedong.
GG and Lure. A bit of an upset here, I would say, with some really cool build orders. Takes out Jaedong on Planet S. A Kespa map, mind you. Wow. Lure's like, that was my first time playing a televised match on that map. I took you out. You're a fan favorite. He's got to be feeling good here. Fans of Jaedong probably not feeling so much. That was a tough, a tough series for him, you know?
Yep. Heartbreaking for Jaedong, but it was a very technical build that the Lure used. Opening the path, making sure there's not a single Zergling, not a single Overlord in the path that can scout this, is able to get into the main base, and purposely decides to not go into sentries, just goes for a massive amount of Zealots.
I want to look back and see if he pulled out a gas, because I think it's possible.
He had the gas, and I double-checked.
Yeah, he had the gas, but did he keep mining it? And how many did he keep mining with 2 in each? Because if he keeps mining with 2 in each, he has extra minerals for those zealots. He has a lot of gateways. We've seen builds like this from Hero in the past, seen it from JYP in the past, a little bit differently. But this was quite special. I liked it a lot.
The thing is, if you really start right away as a Zerg player, you can always pull all your drones. You can go in, try to take down all of those sentries. If you have a few units on the high ground, or maybe the double hatch in the main base, the lava just saved up in the main, then you can produce the units that you need to push that back.
Yeah,
with
but
him,
if you do it like he does it, man, then you've got all this extra minerals. I think he intentionally did this so he could have. He didn't want to do sentries at all. He just wanted to make it zealots and just overwhelm his opponent.
That's why.
Yeah,
that is the one weakness that you have. But if you, I feel it wouldn't have hurt him. It would have. In the end, he didn't need it. But yeah,
because if you have enough roaches, you can deal with the zealots. But if you start making the roaches after the zealots are already in your base, and the zealots keep coming constantly, then eventually you get overwhelmed, especially when Phoenixes are picking up your zealots, the queens are gone, there's no spore crawlers left, you're losing your drones.
The problem for him was he never saw it, so he never had this one bulk of army that he could use. When he started to produce Hydralisk, if you have a little bit of a Hydra and Roach composition, and the queen's still there, and you have them at one army, then you can just push your way in. But he had a few units to the left, a few units at the natural, with the fort, and all those zealots were just too much, and then the Phoenixes started to clean up everything. Very well played by Lua, very technical opening, able to take the third game, advances with a 2-1 over Jaedong, 2 of the second round, and the EG player is now down in Code B.
Huck, now our next EG player, of course, is going to be going up against Samsung's Shine. See you guys in 5, we'll find out who wins it.